Hi everybody, it's Ernie Sabella, the voice of Pumbaa from The Lion King. And I'm telling you to like this video and subscribe to Carny's YouTube channel.
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Carny. Fellas, it's good to see you. Ladies, I knew you would make it. So I recently saw an ad for the new Wizards of Waverly Place reboot, and while I was watching the ad, I thought to myself, man, this looks bad. And then I thought to myself, why is this being shown to me? And then I thought to myself, who's supposed to be seeing this? And then finally I thought, who is this fucking show for? And I couldn't think of a single demographic that this show is correctly targeted at. So I decided to do some research and try to answer the question, is there an audience for this show? Let's find out together. So the show's called Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, which is a hilarious name because the only reason it's beyond is because the original is set in Greenwich Village and this one is set in Staten Island. To infinity and beyond, guys. We are not in Kansas anymore. If we look at the casting of this show, immediately there's a very odd choice right off the bat. If this show were being pitched to me, I would assume that it was gonna be kind of like a That 90s Show sort of thing, where the parent figures in the original show are the parent figures in the new show. But that's not the case. In this show, the dad is Justin Russo, David Henry, who is 35 years old. Probably 34 when they film. And besides his real age, just look at him. Does anything about this babyface scream father of a teenager to you? And you might be thinking, well, hang on, isn't the main girl in this show not his kid? And you're right, the main girl in this show is not his kid. I assumed that his actual kids in the show would maybe be like 6 and 9 or something, which would still be pushing it. But no, his oldest son in the show is 14 years old. And I don't think the ramifications of those numbers really occurred to Disney during the production of this show. Because if Justin has a 14-year-old son, that means either that he married this dollar store ass Harper when he was like 19, which doesn't make any sense because he is neither of the South or the faith. So there goes any logical explanation for why he would do that. Or Justin, the canonically overly cautious, responsible member of the Russo clan, knocked someone up the second he got to college. And I think that would be, like, that's what I hope that's what happened. Because maybe like the Wizard College, it's like BYU, you know, where like everybody gets there, like for some reason like the Wizards never, like they never learned about sex. So Justin's just having the time of his life, just like soaking all his troubles away every weekend. And then he has to call home to Jerry and Teresa and be like, hey guys, is there a spell that'll let me travel back in time 6 weeks? Maybe that would make sense though, for Justin to have a complete character shift that makes no sense, especially when you consider that Alex Russo, the rebellious, smart aleck member of the Russo clan, in this show has become a cop. That's right, guys. The one kind of punk kid that Disney Channel gave us, she joined the fuzz. I just, like, how many hoops do you have to jump through to try to get, like, these two to be, like, like, parental figures? They don't need to be that. Like, they're in their early 30s. Or, well, maybe in the show they're in their early 40s, but they cast Botoxia on themselves to look younger. But that leads me to kind of like the bigger thing I think this highlights for the show as a whole. They're really trying to nail down the nostalgia for people who were their age or a little bit younger when the original show was airing. I was 11 when I started watching the show, and in a vacuum, I should be very excited about this. I should be excited to see a male character I watched as a kid come back in a reboot of a show I watched as a kid. But we're not in a vacuum. I'm a 28-year-old man. I'm not gonna spend my free time watching Wizards Beyond Waverly Place. And like, I don't have kids, but like, even if I did, I wouldn't be watching this show with them. I'd be watching like Sesame Street or Bluey. The average age people have kids in the US is like 29 to 30. So unless there was a mini baby boom with people 6 to 8 years older than me 8 to 10 years ago that I just never heard about, no one who is nostalgic for Wizards of Waverly Place is young enough to watch this show on their own or old enough to have a kid that is old enough to watch this show with. So obviously the show is supposed to be targeted at kids like the age of the main characters in the show. So like middle school, 12 to 14. But kids that age don't have any reason to be excited specifically about a Wizards of Waverly Place reboot. They weren't around for that, or at least they weren't conscious for it. The only person that they maybe would recognize from the original is Selena Gomez, who I am 1,000,000% certain is going to be in the first episode of this show so they can put her in all the ads for it, and then she will never come back. Yep, I was right. And like, I'm sure that they did testing with kids for this show like they do for all their other shows. But the fact that this was on the board in the first place just doesn't make any sense to me. At least when they did the iCarly reboot, they openly were trying to make it a little more adult so people who watched the original show would have a reason to tune back in to try to watch the new show. So what is the plan with this? So then my wheels got turned a little bit more about kind of like the Disney corporate aspect of this. And I think maybe this is all just about them being completely averse to risk at this point. Because if you haven't heard, Disney's been in, what should we call it? A bit of a pickle. In between a rock and a hard place, in a complete economic freefall for a while now. The stock is going down constantly. The streaming service is underperforming. Even the parks aren't doing good right now. Disney Plus got beat by Tubi in May of this year. A move like this seems like something they would do because they don't want to take a chance on a new idea, so they want to go back to something that they think is a safe choice. They've had too many failures, and they just need to get on base with the next few releases that they have. And so they're gonna reboot something familiar, hoping that they can get people to buy into the magic that they used to provide for them. But that right there, that's the problem. Nobody who has a negative opinion of Disney right now is thinking, God, they could totally fix this if they just rebooted more things. They literally would rather make a sequel to a live action remake to a 30-year-old property than just make a new movie. They're doing, okay, listen, I want you to know, this next thing I'm gonna say, this is my opinion, but it is 100% correct. They are doing a live action remake of Moana just because they think it's gonna make them $1 billion if they can get Dwayne Johnson to play Maui in live action rather than just voice him. They think it's a sure thing. And for the producers of that movie, I gotta say, I got some bad news. They've had a lot of failure recently. People lost interest in the Marvel shows really quickly. They're making desperation moves like bringing back Robert Downey Jr. to play Doctor Doom. I said it before, but they're making live action remakes of movies that are not even 10 years old. They are so desperate to make any of their money back after a bad few years. But the reason for the bad years is because they got cocky and tried to serve their audience slop, hoping they would think it was cake. And I think they're going to suffer for it. As someone who watched the original Wizards a ton as a kid, I really don't think they understand what made that show special. It was a new concept for a show that we had not seen before, starring a young actor that was just oozing with the it factor. She could do it all. She could do it anywhere. On screen, on the mic, at the Teen Vogue party. Disney thinks everyone just wants more and more of the stuff that they already like. But they don't. If you loved chocolate cake, even if you loved chocolate cake more than anything in the world, you would not want to eat it for every meal of the day, every day for the rest of your life. So what's gonna happen? Ironically enough, I think this show may be fine, because I know it's gonna be on Disney Channel, not just Disney Plus. If this was just gonna be on Disney Plus, I would say this is completely dead on arrival. I don't know, maybe it still will be. I don't know how kids consume media nowadays. I don't know how many of them would still be watching Disney Channel. I took a look at the ratings for all the DCOMs recently, unrelated to the research for this video, believe it or not. And it's not looking good for Disney Channel. Maybe this will just fail. Looks like nobody's really watching Disney Channel anymore anyway. But back to the big question. Is there an audience for this show? And the answer is yes. There is a small yet mighty audience for this specific show. This man. This man started a whole podcast because he desperately wanted, more than anything in the world, for this show to be rebooted. This 50-year-old man wanted nothing more in his life and his career than to be able to be Jerry Russo once again. And now he'll get to do it. Is it worth it? For me it is. I think it's hilarious and also kind of sweet if you think about it. For Disney, time will tell. But what do you guys think? Can you guys think of anyone who would watch this show other than just a kid who's already watching Disney Channel anyway? I can't, honestly. Do you guys think there's anything that makes this stand out amongst all the other, like, nostalgia reboots for millennials and older Gen Z kids? Because I don't know if it has that either. Do you guys remember the Funky Hat song? That's because I remember it. Like, I remember it like it was yesterday. You want me to... Yeah, no, honestly, I didn't really want to do it anyway. So, thanks for kind of taking that weight off my chest, because like I totally did not want to do that. So, well, that'll do it for this one, fellas. It was good to see you, and say something magical to the ladies on the way out.
Hi, everybody. It's Ernie Sabella, the voice of Pumbaa from The Lion King. And I'm telling you to like this video and subscribe to Carny's YouTube channel. That's Carny's YouTube channel.